Actually, I've done some of that in independent shows around here. There's a guy who used to run Concord every week, and he'd draw about 200 or 300 a week, and so I was working him. I said, well, so we did a little thing where he was pumping gas at a place, and we knew had a guy drive by, jumped out, started beating the hell out of him while he's pumping gas. The gas thing falls out, gas squirting everywhere. People in the service station see it, and actually the woman running the station come out with a gun. That's how much they believe that, and that armory was like 400 or 500 people that night. Just from that angle, people was on the phone, and he jumped Willie while he was pumping gas, and then that night, we did a double bloodbath gimmick, stabbing him with everything. All of a sudden, he starts shooting on me, takes me down on the floor real hard, and I said, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" He said, "Just be still." His mother was standing there with a gun, going to shoot me for what I was doing to her son.
Good.
And that was after kayfabe was dead, so I pride myself on convincing people, well, I don't believe this guy knows kayfabe's dead.
Speaking of like shoots, any matches where with you that you were involved, it kind of got a little too stiff, a little too.
Well, actually, when I was only been in NWA for a couple months, and Ole Anderson beat the shit out of me pretty good. And only reason I guess it was in a tag match. Me and Bill Dromo was working him and Ivan Koloff, and I knew Ivan from back when I worked for Johnny Powers when I was a kid. So Ivan was giving me some stuff and selling and some near falls and stuff, and Ole was just getting pissed. He says, "Well, you doing this for this kid?" And then he tags in, and Ole just beat the shit out of me. It's just, and I always swore I'd get him one day, and I didn't see him for a long time till in Charlotte. I don't know, back 8 years ago or so, and ironically his table was a couple down from mine, and I started heading that way. By that time here he come, and he was limping and having to have somebody help him walk and stuff, and I was, I'm more of a man than that, go do it, and actually shook his hand. And it was just, as far as his talent, I mean, I respect him, and all that, but he was just being Ole. But later on, after I come back from Memphis and he was booking Georgia, he was going to bring me in. He says, "Oh," he said, "I like your gimmick. You're looking good now." And so, at least it ended with, a decent note where he put me over.
Now, was that a big thing back in the day, just getting the guys that are green?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Just you'd take advantage of them up a storm. And then it kind of carried over with me when, after I was in the business several years, I would do guys the same way. I got a reputation for hurting people, and actually, even to this day, it'd be a kid 20 years old that refused to work me because they've heard those horror stories, and that's the one reputation you don't really like. But back in the 80s, I had promoters would pay me to come in and hurt somebody. And Pez Watley told me one day, he was a shooter, done him the same way, and he said, "Look, brother," he said, "Ole used to have me do that." And he said, "One day I just said, you do it if you want." He said, "Because one day you're going to whip somebody's ass." And the last time I ever did, I broke a guy's leg. And he said, "That guy can't work, can't feed his family." He said, "What are you going to do one day? Somebody comes back with a gun and kills you." Never did it again. Yeah. Not for pay. I mean, I did it, something happened in the ring, but never, trying to maim somebody,
Is it... what's the purpose of the bounties? Is it just like, I don't like this kid, I don't want him in my, you know what I mean? Like, what's the...
Yeah, well, back in them days, if they broke kayfabe, a lot of times that happened. Actually, I was in Columbus, Georgia on the show. Actually, we did Atlanta TV 9 o'clock in the morning, and we did Columbus, which is live TV at 3. I'm sitting back there in the back. Here comes Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase. And there was a guy named Rick Craven, worked back in those days. He was sitting there, and I seen Ted and Tommy come in, threw his bags, and he said, "Come here, you piece of shit." Before the guy could stand up, DiBiase beat the shit out of him. The guy he was running his own shows, and he did an interview. "Well, how come you lose on TV, and you're a champion on these other shows here?" He said, "Well, they know I can beat those guys, and they pay me to let them." Oh, DiBiase, told me, he said, "I watched my dad die in this business. You can go out there and expose it like that." Never saw Rick Craven again.